And then Montana threw the pass to Dwight Clark in the end zone for a touchdown. And the Dallas Cowboys had to go home very sad. And the San Francisco 49ers went on to win the Super Bowl. See? Oh, hello. I was just reading the heartwarming Christmas tale of the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys in the 81 NFC Championship game. And of course, that was a great game. We all remember it. But I'm reminded of several contests with the Dallas Cowboys. 3 of them particularly stand out in my memory at this time. The first would be the 94 NFC Championship game. The second would be the regular season in the following year, 1995. And the third would be in 2014 when Jim Harbaugh took the team into Dallas. And what's unique about all 3 of those contests is there was a lot of early turnovers and mistakes by the Dallas Cowboys that let the 49ers jump out to a big lead, a lead which they were able to hold into the end of the game. Well, this game was a little bit like that, except it was the Cowboys that took advantage of Niner turnovers and jumped out to a big lead. So, unfortunately, that's the context that we're starting this game out in. The first few minutes of this video might not be very pleasant for some viewers. We'll take a look at the X's and O's, we'll do a full breakdown, and we'll start right from the very beginning. It's Niners-Cowboys, baby. Let's go. The game is just underway, and so far, things seem to be going pretty good for the 49ers. And here they're faced with a 3rd and 1. But I've circled Ross Dwelly, because watch what happens. False start. Now they're faced with a 3rd and 6. Mullen starts off looking to his right. Doesn't like what he sees. But notice Jordan Reed in the middle. It looks like he's going deep. The safety has to respect that, allowing Reed to cut to the inside of the field. And watch Nick Mullins here as he stands in the pocket despite heavy pressure and delivers the pass. And he drops it. These first 2 plays, which I have just shown you, are a terrific example of what has plagued the 49ers all year long. Unforced errors. Maybe understandable due to the circumstances. But it's not all bad for San Francisco, so let's move on. It looks like they forced a punt from Dallas. And Richie James fumbles the football while making a return. Punt returner is one of the positions the 49ers look like they're going to need to address in the offseason. Yes, you have Brandon Ayuk, but you really only want to put him back there in special situations, lest he get injured. Shanahan has really emphasized ball security to the team, and for good reason. When you turn the ball over deep in your opponent's territory like this, it sets them up for an easy one. And the Cowboys cash in immediately and punch it in for a touchdown. So that makes it 7-0, and now the 49ers are facing a 3rd down and 8. They really need to get going here. They're already behind in the game. And Nick Mullins fumbles the football, and it's recovered by the Cowboys. Let's go back to the snap. All right, I've circled Mike McGlinchey. Now, I really gave a lot of consideration this week as to how much I wanted to focus on Mike McGlinchey. In fact, some of you even reached out to me about it. What I don't want is for this to turn into a situation where, the kid in the back of the class says one thing and gets in trouble, and because of that, the teacher's focused on him for the rest of the year, right? Everybody's focused on that one kid. Any little thing he does, he can't move past it, kind of. And maybe it's unfair to him. They're being harder on him than the rest of the students, right? I don't want a situation like that. This play failed for 2 reasons. One, because Mike McGlinchey just got backed right into the quarterback. But Nick Mullins also has to learn something about his game. He needs to make another improvement to his game, which is he needs to learn how to take the sack. Feel the pressure, be aware of what's going on in the pocket, tuck that ball away if you need to. In the past, we've given credit to Nick Mullins for showing elusiveness in the pocket, even in seemingly impossible situations. But he needs to learn, well, how to be a game manager. Sometimes you got to just take that sack. You're deep in your own territory. Take the sack. Yes, you're going to have to punt. Let your punter get you an extra 40 yards of field position rather than setting up the Cowboys for another easy one. All right, it looks like they're about to pitch it to Pollard, and Pollard has a lot of space in front of him. So the 49er defense needs to react very aggressively to this. When they do, Michael Gallup will take the space the defense left behind. Tarvarius Moore, one of the players who reacted to that fake. And you can see the other one right there, number 54, Fred Warner. Good play by Dallas to touchdown, and it puts them up 14-0 now. Now we see here that it's 2nd down and 15 due to a penalty. And right away we notice that the Dallas defense is giving a lot of space. They're backing way off on this play, and they can afford to. Because it's 2nd down and 15, the line to gain is the 35-yard line. So what the 49ers decide to do is just have Kendrick Bourne kind of turn around after just a few yards, and it'll be up to him to try to get yards after the catch. And Bourne gets actually pretty close to the 1st down. That was an outstanding effort by Kendrick Bourne. And look at him putting 2 hands on the football. He's committed to ball security. All right, it's later on in the same drive, and now they're facing 3rd down and 4. And the 49ers think, well, heck, that worked so good last time. Let's try something again. We notice that the corner at the top is giving Kendrick Bourne a lot of space again. Now, the Cowboys are in his zone, but the 49ers use the 2 inside receivers to kind of run interference here with the Cowboy defenders. Bourne just cuts inside of him. Kendrick Bourne led all receivers with the most receiving yards in this game. A big chunk of that did come in one play, but nevertheless, that might surprise you. All right, 2nd down and 6, and here the 49ers go to Brandon Ayuk. Now they start off with a run fake, and the goal of this fake is to get the linebackers to react so that Ayuk can cut in behind them. So far, so good. But the outstanding linebacker for the Cowboys, Leighton Vander Esch, recognizes the play and immediately drops back into pass defense. This looks very good for the Dallas Cowboys. If Nick Mullins tries to fit this ball in now, that would probably be a very bad idea. But he stays calm and buys some time. Now, he doesn't have a lot of time because he's being pressured. And he has the checkdowns if he wants them. So why does he buy time instead? Well, he knows that the checkdowns probably aren't going to get anywhere near the 1st down. But he also knows that Ayuk versus Vander Esch is a mismatch, even with Vander Esch's good position. That is the benefit of staying patient. And Vander Esch makes this really easy on Mullins by kind of inexplicably stepping up instead of trying to go across with Ayuk on the route. Ayuk comes wide open, and Mullins finds him in the window. In fact, from this angle, we see that Vander Esch probably never realized that Ayuk was behind him. Great play by Nick Mullins. It's 3rd down and 1, and the 49ers would really like to keep this drive going. So here they hand it to Kyle Juszczyk, a play we've seen them use on short yardage many times. But the linebacker Jalen Smith is ready for it. To make matters worse, it looks like Trent Williams has missed his block. But if we take a closer look, we notice that Mullins hasn't actually handed the ball to Juszczyk yet. And now we realize the true design of the play, to get the ball to Raheem Mostert in space. It's a great play, and Mostert takes the ball all the way down to the 1-yard line. Now, when you're up near the goal line, the easiest way to get the ball into the end zone is to run it. And the 49ers tried that on 1st down, but they lost some yardage. And here, Dallas is ready for them to make another attempt. And we see the 49ers faking the handoff, and the Dallas defense bites really hard on this fake. And all the while, Jordan Reed is streaking to the corner. Now the safety Wilson realizes this and turns around to chase him, but as we said on this channel many times, if you have to change directions, you're already beaten. But the thing to really watch on this play, if you remember back to last week, we looked at a play where Brandon Ayuk occupied the corner in front of him with an array of moves. Here he runs a nice route and achieves the same effect, allowing Reed to come in open behind him for the touchdown. Now, to really sell this run fake, they actually pull the guard Laken Tomlinson around as if it were a run. See some fans on the Zoom there. That's pretty cool. There are some socially distanced fans in the stadium as well. That's not important. That 2nd and 18, though, was pretty important. And here, it looks like Nick Mullins has several receivers wide open. But for some reason, he's not comfortable with what he's seeing, and he holds the ball. And when you hold the ball, the pressure is going to get to you, so he's forced to scramble to his right. And normally we talked about the fact that when your quarterback is scrambling, you want to run towards them if you're a wide receiver. Make it easier on them, make it an easier throw for them. But when the defense steps up to take away the check down, Richie James senses an opportunity. Very nice play between Richie James and Nick Mullins, and they pick up the 1st down. Here we see Ross Dwelley and Jordan Lewis kind of lost in each other's eyes. It looks like Dwelley is running to the corner, and Lewis fully commits to turning around and sprinting to that spot. And when he does, Dwelley just sits up and waits for the football. Mullins, with a lot of pressure in his face, delivers the football. Nice throw. I really love this play. Richie James does a great job here of pinning this defender to the inside. Ross Dwelley becomes the lead blocker for Brandon Ayuk. Now it does beg the question, why not simply just hand it to Raheem Mostert? And the answer is, Ayuk has already built up a lot of speed. Ayuk does everything perfectly here except this last part. We can see something's just not quite right here, but through the magic of video editing, we can actually fix this. Hold on here, and okay, perfect. Now it's better. Maybe next time, Brandon. Now there's just 27 seconds to go in the half, and we see the Cowboys are lining up for a field goal. But hold up. Take a look at where they're kicking the ball from. They're at the 50-yard line, plus you got to add 10 yards for the end zone. That's a 60-yard attempt. And not surprisingly, the kick is no good. The 49ers would be unable to capitalize, however, so let's move ahead to the third quarter. The 49ers really want to come out firing, so here they dial up a deep shot. We can see Brandon Ayuk is streaking for the end zone, but he's well defended, taking the corner and the safety with him. But this does open up the middle of the field for Richie James. And what do you need to throw the ball deep? Time. Look at this protection that Nick Mullins has. Now, just like we said last week, if we're going to criticize McGlinchey's bad plays, we got to take a look at his good ones too. So let's zoom in on him here and do just that. Man, he just manhandled that guy. Now watch at the end of the play, you see that, yes, Richie James has lowered his head, but he's just lowering his head to get out of the way. The defender lowers his head to initiate contact. And that's what the rule is. If you lower your head to initiate contact, it's a penalty. The official throws the flag, and since the flag hits Richie James in the chest, the official wins a free goldfish. I absolutely love this next play, even though it was an incomplete pass. Here we see that Brandon Ayuk is one-on-one. And the 49ers decide to take a deep shot, more specifically Nick Mullins. He's got a star receiver one-on-one. Give him a chance. Now, the play didn't work, but how do you get good at plays like that? Well, you got to practice them. You have to make the attempt, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that in the future. And check out Ayuk go up and high point this ball. Very impressive. Perfect technique. The ball was just thrown out of bounds. The drive stalls and the 49ers attempt a field goal. And it is good. And the game is tied. Unfortunately here, the 49ers make a mistake of some kind in their coverage. It looks to me like Richard Sherman has strayed a little bit too far from his zone, allowing probably the worst possible person, CeeDee Lamb, to streak way down the field. A phrase I haven't said very often. That is a beautiful pass by Andy Dalton. Here Dalton hits Dalton Schultz, the third-year tight end, and Richard Sherman is going to have to make an open field tackle here. Now, it's hard to tackle a guy in the open field, but fortunately Richard Sherman is an excellent tackler. But here he just doesn't quite wrap him up, and Dalton's able to fight his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Ouch. Okay, 24-17. Niners get the ball back. Now on the previous play, the 49ers brought Tevin Coleman into the game and gave him a carry, possibly to set up this play. where they once again fake a handoff to Tevin Coleman, with Kyle Juszczyk acting as the lead blocker. Now, of course, the goal of the fake is to try to get these linebackers to step up. But they don't do that. But they also don't do anything. They just stand there and spectate. And Kyle Juszczyk is able to burn them for a long pass play. If that ball's out in front of him, that's probably a touchdown. Third and 7, and here the 49ers use a play that we've seen them run before. They use the two inside receivers to run off these defenders, and Jordan Reed will cut underneath them. Now it looks like Jalen Smith is in a good position to make the tackle here, but watch how smoothly Reed just goes right around him. The prospect of Reed and Kittle potentially being on the field at the same time is tantalizing. The Niners punch it in, the game is tied again, and it makes you wonder, if a Cowboy got into a shootout with a gold miner, who would win? Now later on, Nick Mullins would throw an interception and set the Cowboys up for an easy field goal, making the score 27-24. After that, the teams traded several punts, so we're going to skip way ahead here to 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Crunch time. Once again, Mullins has Kyle Juszczyk wide open here. But instead, he looks for Brandon Ayuk coming over the middle. But as we can see, there's two defenders right there. This is an extremely dangerous throw. But Mullins makes the attempt anyway, with disastrous consequences. Huge interception with just 3 minutes to go. That's backbreaking. Mullins has to make a better decision than that. Now, of course, it is imperative that the 49er defense holds the Cowboys to just a field goal, but San Francisco now has a second opponent, time. With just 2.5 minutes to go, the Cowboys decide the sensible move is to run the ball. Once again, Richard Sherman is going to be tasked with making a difficult open field tackle on Pollard. But again, this is something we've seen him do time and time and time again. But he misses wildly. Pollard hits the spin button. That's the B button, I believe, or the circle, depending on which system you're using. And he takes it all the way to the house. That would be a brutal late touchdown that would really, really hurt the 49ers' chances of coming back in this game. Now, when I was watching this game, C.J. Beathard came in, and while that may not be surprising to some folks, what was surprising to me was that he came in the middle of a series. That's something you would normally almost never see. In this case, it's because, to add insult to injury, we found out that Nick Mullins had hurt his elbow. In fact, he's going to need Tommy John surgery, so he's probably going to miss the entire next season as well. But CJ is in the game. The 49ers are facing a third down, and they need to get going. They have no time to mess around here. They need points immediately. Dallas is well aware of this fact. They're also aware how difficult a situation it must have been for Beathard to come in the middle of a series like that without even having the chance to warm up. So they decide to send an all-out blitz. Beathard wisely takes the check down to the running back. Now here's where I'm going to give some major props to Kyle Shanahan, who I felt really coached an excellent game. With just 42 seconds left and down by 10 points, you need a touchdown and a field goal. If you spend all of your time here, if you spend all 42 seconds to get your touchdown, it might make it difficult for you later to even get in a position to attempt something like a Hail Mary. So it's smarter to kick your field goal first, even though it's not fourth down. That way you save time on the clock. Brilliant move by Kyle Shanahan, who, in a strange sort of way, was ultimately proven correct at the end of the game. But we'll get there. The field goal is good, making the score 34-27. So let's spend some time here talking about why teams do what they do on onside kick attempts. First and foremost, the rule is the ball must travel 10 yards before you are allowed to touch it, unless your opponent touches it first. But you don't want your opponent touching it first because then they're likely to recover it. So you also don't want to just kick it straight to them. The goal is to bounce it off the ground so that it's at a high point, kind of right around that 10-yard mark, and try to catch it at that point. Now, this used to be a lot easier for teams because it used to be the rule that you could get a running start, building up a lot of speed, so these contested catches were very competitive. As it turns out, though, allowing teams to get a running start leads to a lot of injuries, specifically head injuries. So now the rule is you are not allowed to get a running start. The players are much slower off the line of scrimmage as a result, and there's virtually no chance to recover one of these. The onside kick success rate used to be around 16%. Now it's less than 8%. So after the touchdown, Dallas does have to kick off to San Francisco, and as you can see, they get the ball to midfield with about 7 seconds left in the game. We're actually going to get to see this Hail Mary attempt we were talking about earlier. Now Beathard has a much stronger arm than Mullins, and Kendrick Bourne comes down with the catch. Touchdown, San Francisco. Had it not been for that onside kick, the game would have been tied right now. Incidentally, the league is looking into a way to change the onside kick scenario to give teams a better shot in situations like this. Look at Bourne. Look at the hands on that ball. In that sea of hands, he comes down with it. Very impressive. Although the game was lost, it ends on a good note for the 49ers. Well, there you have it. The 49ers lose to their nemesis, the Dallas Cowboys, in a very back and forth epic struggle. That was a really fun game. It was a shootout, and I dare say NBC made a mistake flexing that game out of primetime. That was a fun game to watch. It wasn't fun to lose. Unfortunately, we kind of just have to chalk this season up to the injuries. You know, they're real. They matter. They make a difference. Mathematically, the 49ers were eliminated from playoff contention with that loss to the Cowboys. Nevertheless, we do have 2 more games to go. The Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks. And it looks like George Kittle is going to be playing in at least one of those games. Now, Coach already said Jimmy Garoppolo is going to practice, but he's not going to play for the rest of the season. And I think that makes sense. Why take the chance of running him out there to get hurt again? You want him to go through the full off-season program. OTAs, organized team activities, training camp, preseason. He needs to be healthy for that whole stretch so that the 49ers can really hit the ground running next year. So we'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, we've got a game coming up against the Arizona Cardinals. I want to thank all my subscribers. You guys have been so great this year. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I want to thank my new subscribers especially. It takes a long time to make a video like this. If you guys could help me out, just take 10 seconds and hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. I read every comment. At the end, win or lose, we're going to be here breaking it down. And I can't wait to do that. And I will see you guys then.